Mr. Speaker.
Order.
Item 1, resumption of debate on the motion CareShield Life, standing in the name of the Minister for Health.
Ms. Joan Pereira.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for the opportunity to speak on this motion. First of all, I would like to record my sincere appreciation to the ElderShield Review Committee for your immense hard work. Thank you. The elderly and vulnerable are groups of Singaporeans whom I hold close to my heart. And CareShield Life is, in my opinion, a scheme that is crucial for their well-being. As Singaporeans live longer lives, this also means an increased probability of having a severe disability that requires long-term care. And with more Singaporeans having few or no children, it would also be unrealistic to completely rely on the younger generation to pick up the tab. When I go on my walkabouts and during my Meet the People sessions, it is a common sight to see wheelchair-bound residents going about with a caregiver, often a foreign domestic worker in tow. These senior citizens are the more fortunate ones. The less well-off are homebound, constantly being cooped up, which hampers one's well-being. To continue having a quality of life, even with severe disability, it is important to have adequate funds to tap on in old age. CareShield Life will ensure that with a largely affordable annual premium per year, policyholders will have an income for their daily and care needs even when they are unable to work. I'm pleased to note that the committee has made a change to the nomenclature for ElderShield, which I had advocated many times previously. The new name CareShield Life more accurately reflects on the core of the scheme, which is to become a key pillar of Singapore's social safety net, giving care to all Singaporeans regardless of their race or regardless of their age and background. Some young people are indignant about having to start as early as 30 years old. There has even been talk that this is a ploy to get the young to pay for the old. The opposite is the truth. For one, severe disabilities can happen to anyone at any age. All it takes is one freak accident or serious illness. Second, in order for premiums to be affordable, they have to be spread out over a longer period of time. It would be crucial to note that premiums only have to be paid for until one has reached the age of 67, after which the insured will continue to receive lifelong coverage. This is a factor that is lacking in many private insurance schemes, and this is why there is a need for CareShield Life to shore up and fill up the gaps. It is good practice to start taking ownership of one's own health from a young age. And to reward those who do so, I wish to recommend offering incentives on top of what will be given, such as a discount on premiums for the following year for those under ES 300 and ES 400 who had not made prior claims. This will encourage them to opt into it. It also reinforces the notion of taking responsibility for good health. In cases where patients recover from their disabilities, there must be proper communication and follow-up with them on their health and financial status to ensure a smooth transition. This process must be handled with sensitivity and with compassion as the claimants adjust from the position of receiving monthly CareShield payouts to the state of the termination of payouts. Furthermore, in order to remain covered under CareShield for the future, these recovered policyholders have to resume premium payments. The healthcare institution where he receives rehabilitation would have the relevant records, and their cooperation is essential, so CPF board receives the necessary updates without inconveniencing the policyholder. I note that a panel is consulted with regard to adjustment of premiums. Understandably, actuaries who work with the insurance profession will be consulted for their expertise. I would request that social workers, healthcare workers, voluntary welfare organizations, and people who work with the disadvantaged be invited to join the panel to share their observations and opinions. Healthcare professionals could offer precious input on health matters, such as the average remaining lifespan and needs of a severely disabled person. For policyholders who cannot afford to pay premiums even after premium subsidies, I'm glad to note that they can apply for assistance from the Additional Premium Support Scheme. While CareShield Life will be mandatory for those who will be aged between 30 and 40 in 2020, encouraging those who do not fall into this group to sign up for it will be a big challenge. I note that younger ESH 400 policyholders aged 41 to 50 in 2020 will be auto-enrolled into CareShield Life, and they may opt out and have their premiums returned within 2 years of auto-enrollment should they wish to. The government is also offering participation incentives spread over 10 years to entice existing cohorts to opt into CareShield Life. Despite these incentives, the calculations are complex at a glance, and if money is a concern, some people may think it is simply more cost-saving to stay on ElderShield, or for those who had opted out of ElderShield, not to sign up at all. As mentioned earlier, I hope the government will consider my recommendation of offering additional incentives to ES 300 and ES 400 policyholders to get on board CareShield Life. Sir, in Mandarin. 与此同时，依据年长的新加坡人，除了年度保费之外，还要支付基本保费和追加费用。虽然这是合理，但我担心这些费用会使到这一群正在担心工作不稳定性的年长人士对终身互保不感兴趣，而他们正是最容易患上残疾、病症、高风险的一群。我们需要开展全面的公众教育活动，让新加坡人了解和接受终身互保的必要性。政府已经分享了关于接受或转换到终身互保的鼓励措施、程序和保费的详细计划。可是，人们的一般见解是，除了保健储蓄，还有终身健保和综合健保双全计划。这些普通受过教育的新加坡人来说，实在是太复杂了。试想那些能从这些政策中受益最多、受教育程度较低的年长人士来说，是多么的混乱不清。政府必须提供资源，让人们寻求建议和指导。最理想是，这些教育活动应该有辅导员的参与，他们可以对于退休准备的重要性和个人责任提供建议。这些合格的专业辅导人士可以提供免费的1对1咨询，以及解释和比较各种政府保险政策。With regard to platforms for the education campaign, we have to bear in mind that people these days have little time for the newspapers. They prefer to rely on social media and simply just skim through the headlines. The government must reach out to all age groups, both young and old, using appropriate platforms without trivializing the subject matter. One crucial factor to consider is that some people would have purchased private insurance policies for disabilities, and they would be concerned about whether they would be paying unnecessarily for overlapping coverage, especially for those on a tight budget and can only afford one policy. Would it be wise to give up their existing policy in light of CareShield? Would CareShield Life be adequate to address potential needs? If the government could work with private insurers, as with the case of integrated shield plans, integrating a CareShield component into relevant insurance policies and allowing Medisave payments for that component, I think it will be a welcome move. For those who can afford to pay for an enhanced component, this would also spur insurance providers to improve their plans and provide better coverage. The government could moderate integrated policy premiums so that they remain reasonably priced. In conclusion, Sir, CareShield Life is a scheme that empowers Singaporeans, regardless of their economic situation, to maintain financial independence without being a burden to loved ones. Nevertheless, it is human nature to be skeptical of matters that one does not fully understand. I urge the government to step up on outreach programs to help as many Singaporeans as possible to benefit from this scheme. Sir, thank you.